Okay, let me just check that my mic is working. Hopefully it is. Please tell me my mic is working. Okay, let me just check that my mic is working. Okay. So it says my phone, I am working. Hello to the 2 people in here. Yesterday my mic did not pick up and I ended up, it wouldn't like pick up over the video even though it said it was going to. So hopefully today goes better. Anyway, I first and foremost want to obviously say that I don't know Cinder, so I can't say this from a friend's standpoint like her other friends were, like her friends were like when they covered it. So I'm more giving the viewer's standpoint and also just reacting and giving my opinions on people like her. So, yeah. No real hate to her. Like, I don't want her to, I mean, obviously she did something wrong, but like, no like full hate to her. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get to it. Why is my screen? Hold on. There we go. It should fix itself now. Hopefully it fixes itself. There we go. There we go. Yeah. I've seen a lot about it, and I wanted to, you know, make a video about it. I don't really stream all that much as I would like to, but, you know, hopefully my mic actually works this time, because last stream my mic wouldn't work. Also, how is your day before we actually start this? Hopefully very good. We're gonna be reacting to Mujin's thing of this, so, you know, hopefully he went over it well.
Well guys, it took a while, but after 4 months, 2025 has officially had its first apocalyptic level VTuber drama that has caused an industry-wide disaster. This is about one of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet and how for years, while pretending to be her friend, tried to take away opportunities and suppress the success of an even bigger independent VTuber by the name of Bao. This all started.
Yeah, and you know what I find fucked up about this whole situation is that she did this against her friends. Like, I can't imagine doing that to my friends. I feel like it's just, like, straight up narcissistic and stupid, and it's like, it's not even people that were being, like, hateful. My day was also fine. I had work, and then, you know, just did not much today, but I had work.
A very well-renowned artist within the VTuber community published this document titled Terminating My Work with Cinder. This document is such a bombshell filled to the brim with proof that it's currently sitting at almost 3 million views and it hasn't even been up for 24 hours. That artist wasn't the only one. There are multiple documents with a lot of proof published by multiple people, including Bao, who usually stays away from drama. And as time goes on, more and more people are coming out.
Exactly. If it wasn't straight up partially about her, I highly doubt she would have even gotten fully into it like that.
their side of the story. You have to understand, this doesn't just involve Bao, this involves multiple very successful VTubers being backstabbed by that person. And that is barely scraping the surface here. Not to mention that her apology was one of the worst I've seen.
Yeah, Shy Lily's response was like hilarious. I would have locked in too, if that was my friend, you know? Like, she was understandably mad about Cinder, you know? And, like making, Bao cry was, like, probably the worst thing to hear, and I don't even know any of them, like, personally.
In recent,
and I understand why Shy got mad that Cinder like made Bao cry and stuff and all of this shit, cause they were all like super good friends, and Cinder just like screwed everyone over, and it's fucked up.
Memory. To say that this is apocalyptic is an understatement. The entire VTuber community is shook to its core. So what the hell is going on? Well, you already know the drill.
I know, right? Like, who the fuck blames that shit on their boyfriend? Like, I'm sure her boyfriend was part of it, but like, and there's kind of proof that her boyfriend was part of it. I know. Like, you want to be a full fucking grown adult and make content and have a full fucking job, but you can't take fucking accountability? It's just like, be a fucking adult. If you're an adult, be an adult.
Let's talk about it. So as I mentioned, the VTuber at the center of this controversy is Cinder, but she didn't always go by that name. She actually started off in 2020 as a YouTuber by the name of Tashi.mp3, making a variety of different ASMR.
Don't make me beg master is crazy. That's fucking crazy. You see that shit?
RP videos, like "You're such a good boy for me" ASMR RP. A year later,
What the actual fuck? Sorry, I can't with videos like that.
on June 2021, she would create her Twitch channel under the name of Cinder and would start streaming. During that time, she would build herself a small community of people. But the real turning point for her was a year later on June 2022 when she would officially do her model debut. The whole thing was a resounding success and people fell in love with her model almost instantly. At the time, very few models looked like it and it was seen as innovative, unique even. Not to mention that it had two very big reasons to keep your attention, I guess. During her debut, she would spend close to an hour showing off her model and the different features that it came with.
As do many VTubers, I know her old channel sucks. Not like sucks like as in I don't like people who make ASMR, but like sucks as in the ASMR she was making. Oh, I got a bedtime reminder. I forgot to get those.
Her debut, she would get a lot of traction. People really liked her model and her personality. Nanolist was also able to gain some of this traction because she was behind the design of her model. This allowed her to start receiving many commissions from other VTubers who wanted a similar style, and as you can see from how many followers she had in 2023, she was also able to grow exponentially. Cinder would understand that one of the things people loved about her was the design behind her model, so she stuck with Nano and would keep commissioning a new model or outfit every few months. Now look, when it comes
Yeah, if I was her artist and she was commissioning me every few fucking months, I would be upcharging that bitch so hard. Like, I can't even lie. Like, it's just, like, crazy. I could never.
to VTuber models and VTuber outfits, this costs a lot of money. We're talking thousands of dollars. The fact that she was able to do this every few months already shows.
Yeah, I know the chat is delayed. I'm doing this on my phone, so it's just a little laggy, and I'm reading the chat off of my TV too, so that I can actually see what it says. So that's why it's a little lagged, and my responses are a little lagged too. because I don't have a proper like setup yet, because I'm kind of like working up to that, because I'm like, you know, broke. I'm broke.
The resounding success that she found in content creation. Her average view count on Twitch was unstoppable, reaching thousands of concurrent viewers today, ranking her as the 471st most watched content creator on the entirety of Twitch. Part of the reason of that growth was that she was able to be a part of the VTuber friend group that included the biggest indie VTubers on the planet. She was seen as a dear friend, and as far as the others knew, that's how she saw them too, always collabing together and always being a part of their tier lists or whatever other challenges they do. But that's not all. Her success knew no bounds. In the beginning of 2025, she announced that she was a partial owner of the company GamerSubs. This is a huge energy drink company that
I do gotta get my PC. I'm still saving up for it, because, honestly, yeah, I'm still saving up for a PC and stuff like that. I'm also saving up for an actual model rather than a PNG, so I can have a little bit more customization there. So, lots of money needed. Which kind of sucks, but it's okay. It's okay.
sponsors many of the top VTubers in the world. She even released her own shaker with them, and the art on the shaker, of course, was also made by Nanoless, and it sold out completely. All this to tell you that she was extremely successful. Guys, she was never in any controversy. As far as anyone was concerned, she had a very warm and kind personality, as well as a really cool design. So of course, no one could have ever expected that it would just take one document to make her entire successful career come crashing down in an instant. But that's exactly what happened. On April 26, 2025, Nanoless, who at this point had become completely associated with Cinder's brand, had published this tweet saying, "Hello, I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others. This was very hard for me, but I feel like it's necessary. Please do not send hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say." Linking a Google.
Yeah, PNGs are cool, but I want more detail and more customization, you know? Like, I like my PNG girl, but I want the customization, because I have, like, a design picked out, but I can't get that through the free PNGs that I'm using, you know? Because she's supposed to be a sheep cat. A sheep and a cat mixed together based on her lore, which I will also eventually have a video of.
Google Doc with the title "Terminating My Work with Cinder." And in the replies, one could see the biggest independent VTubers on the planet fully and unconditionally supporting Nanoless with this document. So let's take a look. Nano starts off with introduction and notes, saying, "I wanted to share my experience with Cinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends." So before we continue, you know who Cinder is, but who the hell is Red? Well, Red, otherwise known as Redacted, has been Cinder's manager since she started content creation. This has been a well-known fact. If you knew her or worked with her or whatever, you typically did it through Red. He was somehow involved all the time. So this document wasn't just talking about Cinder, it was also talking about him. Nano continues, "Not only do I no longer wish to work with Cinder..."
Thank you. Sheeps and cats are my favorite animals, so I wanted to make it something to do with that. As you know, it also a little bit, I also want to include my cat in my big model in a better way, because the cat in my PNG's lap is based on my own, so I also want to get him in there, which is also going to add more money to the needed money. But he'd be a toggle. So I also have him as an homage, because he's the reason I like cats so much. So yeah, cats and sheep are like my favorite things in the world.
but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar. I struggled a lot with writing this document and wasn't sure if what I felt and experienced working was real or just burnout, but I think this proves that I was lied to and manipulated over the course of years while working with Cinder. Note, based on working with Redacted and Cinder over the years, that I am sure they speak for each other and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Cinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them,
that's exactly what I'm thinking, is that how do you seriously go about that? Like, how do you, I think Buff Puff put it best. Yeah, basic is like nice too, because you don't have, it makes it like easier for people who draw fan art and all that stuff. And mine isn't all that complicated either, but like, you know, just a little more detail. It would be interesting. I also have a little spreadsheet of her information that I'll eventually post. What was I saying? Anyways, I think Buff Pup put this situation best, where she was like, as someone with a romantic partner, they're the first person you tell. So there's no way that like Red and Cinder weren't communicating what they were saying to the artist, you know?
it refers to both of them acting as a team. English not being my first language and the language barrier, I discussed the situation, my feelings and thoughts with native English speakers who helped me put them into words so everything is clear without any misunderstandings due to lack of English skills. Note, any names that are censored here were censored because the creator in question did not provide consent to have their name revealed by the time of me posting this document. So this is already a handful, right? It's alleging many things, but thankfully, Nano has a lot of proof in DMs. So she starts off with a section, slandering other creators. I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me that it's all in our best interest. In addition to spreading ill rumors, they also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation, immediately followed by spreading rumors and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions. So these are fairly recent DMs from January 2025. It starts off with Nano saying, "Of course, I wanted to understand it better, especially if I cancel her for the second time, lol." With Redacted saying, "Well, with blank, she's given a lot of bias and priority at GS, which is gamer subs, sometimes over Cinder, and we can't really..."
Yeah, but like, I don't even know how I want to say what I want to say, so I'm not going to say it.
Confront them about it, and plus, she's gone 3D lately. Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. She hijacked our YouTube editor a while ago and is constantly...
Hijacked is fucking crazy. And I also don't see how Bao can get on your fucking nerves. Like, everyone can get on anyone's nerves, but like, Bao is just like... I mean, she's fucking crazy sometimes, but like, she's not annoying, which, you know.
Picking up artists that we work with. We've gotten to know her better being friends with her, but she really rubs us the wrong way with the things she does. We wanted to try and safeguard our most important artist from her since she's already taken our editor. And I don't mean taken like he doesn't work with us anymore, he does, but he has to dedicate time for her now, and sometimes that gets in the way of our projects. Also, one of...
Yeah, he has to dedicate time to fucking edit for her. What do you mean? What do you mean he has to dedicate time? Of course he has to dedicate time if he's fucking... You know how much time editing? Yes, Bao is amazing. But like, they're talking like they don't know how much time it takes to edit full fucking videos, you know? I know some YouTubers have said that it takes them like in a couple of hours to like a day or two. She is so chill. She's so chill. I mean, from what I've seen, of course, you know. But we also thought that Cinder was chill, you know. But I think that Bao is... Exactly, do they think they own people? you know. But I think Bao is like genuinely chill though, like not like how people thought Cinder was chill and now she's doing all this shit. Exactly, he's got other fucking clients. And it's not like the editor is saying, I'm never working with you again because I have Bao now. The editor is just editing for other people at the same time. It's fucking crazy.
Bao's music video editors is the one that did the Boss Rush music video, and we're 99% sure she told him not to do any more with us. But like model art is the most important thing, that's a VTuber's entire image. Well, we love working with you. Cinder wouldn't be Cinder without Nano. Okay, but like let me tell you the tea about the music video thing. Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor and the songs flopped. Her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. We managed to have him squeeze in the Boss Rush music video between his work with Bao. He says he loved working on it and is super excited to work on the next music video project. The Boss Rush song blows up and he's credited as the editor. I ask him when he's free to do the next project. All of a sudden he changes his mind and is only working with Bao going forward. No explanation. Nanolist replies with a pen.
Okay, well, now he is just working with Bao solely, I guess. All of a sudden he changes his mind and his work. I highly doubt he actually said that though. Like what proof does Redacted like bring to the table that the editor actually said that? Maybe from how they acted, I'm 90% sure that they probably just didn't want to work with the editor anymore because he was working with other people and wouldn't agree to be theirs alone.
Making emoji, and then Redacted continues, there's some context missing since we know how Bao is behind the scenes, but basically we don't have a music video editor now for our next Boss Rush project. We think Bao got pissed that her editor did an original song music video for her friends without her knowing, and it did 100 times better than her original songs last year, that she locked him up so no one else could work with him. And then had him make it public on Twitter that he was only working with her going forward, like a literal announcement tweet. And now she's been barking up the tree of one of our live 2D animators, so
yeah, even if he did say that, that's kind of it's his own decision, it's his own person. He can choose who he works with and who he doesn't, you know? Because, like, maybe he just, like, recognized how bad of people these people are and was like, you know, but even if he didn't, you know, like, or maybe he was taking a break, you know.
like in you and a Nano model. Nano replies with, yeah, looking for me sounds sus for sure. Redacted says it's so annoying. I don't know, man. She has a way of guilt tripping people to get her way. So these are the DMs from January and it's already looking kind of bad. Nano continues in the document saying, Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest friends, Bao, by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress, manipulating me into thinking it is okay since she has many connections and she'll be fine anyway, so I wouldn't feel guilty about it or worry too much. It was and is upsetting to me that Red contacted me specifically.
Yeah, and they have no right to tell the Nanolist to cut his work with people. It's just, like, not right, because he's his own person. He can choose who he does commissions for. It's not right to do that.
Specifically to check on me canceling the model I had planned with Bao. So these DMs are from August 2024 with Red messaging her saying, did you cancel models? Nano said, I did not. Red replies with, Nano arc delayed to 2026. Nano replies with, I'm scared to cancel with Bao, to which Red says, you shouldn't be. She has so many connections. She'll find.
Hold on, I gotta go pee. Okay, we good. We good.
Find someone super fast. Did you already design her outfit? I remember her showing it to us at WeebCon, to which Nano says, yeah, I can give her the design for...
Oh. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought my mom was coming to knock on my door. Because I'm home I'm home right now. Because I'm a broke 18-year-old, you know.
free as an apology gift. This is so scummy, man. You have to understand, commissioning a VTuber model is a very lengthy process. Everything from the initial concept, to the design, to the rigging, to the testing. If you don't pay extra, it might take a year. If you pay double, it might take a few months, but it takes a while anyway, and finding someone who's both talented and has a free schedule is almost impossible. So this idea of, oh, she has so many connections is very insensitive and scummy. Nano clearly is nervous and doesn't want to cancel, but Red keeps pressuring her to do so. Such weirdo behavior. Nano continues in the document in the next section, titled Exclusivity and Blacklisting Other Creators. In the messages below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity, but rather when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission,
asking for exclusivity and then not agreeing to pay it is like fucking crazy, you know? Like, how are you gonna ask an artist to be like, I'm not gonna work with any other people, but, you know, it's gonna stay the same price for you. Like, how are you gonna ask for that?
they would guarantee me model work for Cinder only, and if anyone asked me for commissions, they'd commission me instead to compensate for not working with other creators. This felt very strange, given that one of the accusations they made was overworking their editor, yet their solution to me working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects. The messages below show that their primary concern is that the more non-Cinder models I make, the less valuable my existing models become. It's hard to say how much this messed with my mind as an
How does it become less valuable? The more he makes work, the more he improves, which means the more he can add to models, which means that he might add things that other model creators don't have, which would ultimately make him actually more valuable. And also, if he works on other models, he gets better at drawing certain assets. And that means that people who want those assets will go to him, which makes him more valuable. How does any of this make him less valuable?
That by working with other people, I'm somehow making my existing models less special. The following screenshot is one of them setting up the blacklist, saying I'm not allowed to work with any new clients or create any new outfits for VTuber 1 specifically, and justifying those things by saying that with each model, my art becomes less unique and special, and therefore Cinder somehow will become less special. The idea that my work as an artist and designer is devalued by working with other people is insane and hurtful. After realizing what taking a deal with them would really mean for both my workload and my mental health, I backed out. So this first screenshot is also from January 2025, very recent, and it starts off with redacted saying, I mean, like, if we wanted to have some kind of model exclusivity, what would you need to make that sustainable for you? Nano replies with, maybe you can share one of your ideas and I can check what I think. Half an hour passes by, redacted doesn't say anything, Nano says something, and it's, okay, so I got some ideas for this, I guess. Redacted says, I was driving, what are you thinking? Nano says, okay, so I asked help from my friends, they don't know it's you, so don't worry. So a monthly fee, calculating my monthly earnings. Also, how long would this be, and if this counts for models I already worked on? Redacted replies with, well, I think the main things we're looking for are for you to not take any brand new model clients and to not make any new models outfits for...
Yeah, but that's not your fucking decision, you know?
Blank again. So this is them deliberately targeting one VTuber in particular. Anyway, he continues, you'd still be able to work on models/outfits with all of your other existing babies, and your artwork commissions wouldn't be affected. One of our concerns is that more nano babies means nano models don't have the same value anymore. And by the way, guys, when he says nano babies, it's a VTuber term, so typically people who will make your model are called Papa or Mama, and the VTuber commissioning them is their baby, okay? Yeah, I know it's weird if you're not into VTubers, okay? You don't have to tell.
Bro, this rain lately has been like stirring up my allergies. I can't stop coughing.
Me, but now you know. Anyway, he continues, and second is that there's a few people that we just would rather not be able to have a model from you. Maybe not any new babies at all. The reason why I brought this up at all is that there's been a lot of bias with another one of our partners with certain creators, and we'd rather these creators not have what makes Cinder unique, which is your artwork, just drama. An hour later, Redacted comes up with an idea, saying, what about we can pay blank for you, and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think around 4 this year right now, but you don't work with blank, blank, or blank at all again, models or...
Yeah, but who are you to tell him? Or was it a her? I can't remember if Nano is a him or a her. I think it's a her. Anyway, telling her to be like, to not work for certain people is like, how would you even do that? Like, they don't even have fucking probable, like, cause for this.
Art. I don't think you've ever done anything with blank or blank before. We also have another gamer subs label for you too, the AFK. This is absolutely wild. Look at how many people they're blacklisting over here, okay? Nanolist replies with, is there any way to add a little bit more since blank still asks for art every now and then? Redacted says, we could do it like when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us so that we buy another art piece. Like, so you still get a job from it. Now, I'm sure you're wondering who these censored creators in the message are. Well, now we know. This is the full message, with Redacted saying, you don't work with bow, cotton, or blank at all again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with bow or cotton before. These
Bow and Cotton were like good friends with Cinder, and she's over here, don't work for them. The fuck?
Are again very big independent VTubers that call Cinder a friend. This is one of the most shameless things I've ever seen. Gatekeeping art from friends and also gaslighting a very talented artist. It's wild. Now bear in mind, there's a VTuber that's still censored here, and throughout the document you'll see a person of interest called VTuber1. Those got revealed later and we'll talk about them in this video, so don't worry. Nano then continues in the document saying, another example of speaking ill of other creators right after they saw I was working with Shy Lily, trying to once again make the idea of working with other clients seem like I am setting myself up with problematic people who will do me no good in the long run to get me to reconsider working with them. They also continuously kept asking about my other clients' plans, which for them made the antenna go up and immediately went into slandering Lily. And when Nano says Lily, she of course means Shy Lily. They consistently try to reassure me that despite their best efforts, they just happen.
How can you actually like sit here and slander Lily of all people? Like, Lily, are you serious? Lily is like one of the least the least slanderable people. She's so sweet. I mean, her reaction to this was not sweet at all. The snapping was out of her character, but like, she's so sweet like otherwise, you know?
They keep trying to bring drama in as reasons for me to go exclusive, and that working only with Cinder is them trying to look out for me. So this is extremely recent, like a couple weeks ago, right? In mid-April 2025, with Redacted saying, hey Nano, do you have more plans with Lily besides just the model, like outfits or merch or anything? Nano says, been just the model so far, to which Redacted says, okay, her asking you for a model recently just made the antenna go up. She's been acting weird towards Cinder lately and we don't know if something's going on. Nano says, oh, that's weird. Redacted says, ever since after V-Card launched, which is a VTuber trading card game that Shy Lily helped launch. Nanolist says, but what do you consider weird? And Redacted says, lately dipping.
She did get her get back. And that honestly, good for her. Good for her. Lily, like, I'm so happy that Lily snapped and like protected her friends and herself. Like, it's not, what Cinder was doing was fucking insane.
out of collabs they were both a part of at the last minute and now ghosting her messages. Cinder's raided her a couple times on Twitch in the past week, and Lily won't acknowledge Cinder by name. Just like pretty weird petty stuff, I don't know. Nano says that's super weird since they both share the same store, lol, referring to Gamersupps, that they both have partial ownership in, and Redacted says around V-Card's launch they were talking in collab.
Yeah, she's not gonna like respond to every single thing, and I'm sure, like, I believe that in one of the videos that I watched before, she thanked the raiders. She just didn't say Cinder by name. Like, she's like, thank you for the raid, as normal people would do.
And I don't know what happened, but her asking you for a model after that was just weird, even though she said she doesn't plan on getting a new model anytime soon. I don't know, hate that we keep bringing you into drama, to which Nano says, yeah, I thought it was quite early to go for a new model. Redacted says, feels like we're gonna have to compete with Lily if she's ghosting Cinder and wants the same model mama. So of course, I don't have to tell you, Shy Lily is also one of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet, and she is someone that considered Cinder a friend. Now we have proof that she was backstabbing her too. Nano continues in the document, the idea that they need to stay informed and gauge the competition is extremely upsetting and toxic to me. The competition they're referring to are people I thought they considered friends who always helped, supported, and platformed Cinder. When I pushed back, the immediate response was blaming the other creators and implying that they initiated it by trying to work with me and that somehow justified their actions. They imply Shy Lily ignored Cinder.
How does that fucking justify anything, you know? Like how does that justify anything? Hey, I know I talked shit behind your back, but you know, you bad person. Like, how does any of that justify anything? Like, you didn't respond to my rage, so your competition now, and you did this first. Like, how does that even justify anything?
When she spent over a minute thanking the raid, which you can see in this clip. Let's watch it together.
Ignore what you just saw. Okay. Ooh! Oh my goodness! Hello! Oh! Hello, raiders! Hello! I am playing Berserker. It's called The Last Berserker Kazan. We were sponsored, but the game was really fun, so I just kept playing for like a million more hours. Hello, everyone! Hello!
See?
The Pyro Pop.
See, and she even acknowledged it multiple times. Even saying Pyro Pup just before I paused it.
Raid! Hello, Pyro Pops! What did you guys do? I am low-key addicted. I usually... Okay, so most people know me for my gacha addiction, but
Right, so I think that's enough proof to see that she acknowledged the raid and did her best to interact with her and her community when they raided her. So this idea that she ignored her completely is totally false. And I think it was just them hoping that Nano would be too lazy to actually find the stream itself and see Shy Lily's real reaction to the raid. Again, very scummy behavior. On that same day, Redacted and Nano kept DMing each other, with Redacted saying, Real, is it just Cinder and Blank you've been doing continuous model outfits for? We'll have the demon update list plus final arcade reference for you soon as it's finished, to which Nano says, I think it is. I have an outfit for Blank planned too. As for Blank, got nothing for now, but she always comes up with something. Redacted asks, do you know who's rigging Shy Lily's model? Nano list says, gonna be Blank. To which he replies with, thanks Nano, sorry for all the questions, just gotta stay informed, especially when it comes to our top artist, never a break. Nano.
Why do you have to stay informed for somebody else's model though? Like, if it was Cinder's model, yeah, stay informed, but this is a whole different person. Like, why do you gotta stay informed for a different person's fucking model?
Says, don't worry, just don't stress too much with the side things, it's bad for balding. Redacted replies with, I'm gonna go bald now, I'll keep you in the loop about anything else going on with that. Nano replies with, the balding? And Redacted says, no you fool, just stupid drama. Gotta stay competitive even when we shouldn't have to. Also, your profile picture looks like a guy with a mustache. And Nano says, don't go too far on the competitiveness, it can get bad. Gotta chill sometimes. To which Redacted says, hey, it's not us. We aren't the ones getting a model from the artist of the other Gamersupps owner out of the blue and ghosting them and refusing refusing to acknowledge them. You know, this is made weirder by the fact that both Shy Lily and Cinder are co-owners of a company, and this is how Cinder is treating her. Her competitiveness knew no bounds. She would probably push a toddler off a bridge if it meant getting 100 extra viewers on Twitch, okay? Nano continues in the...
She probably would, too.
document saying, below I wanted to push back and make clear I was uncomfortable on being dragged into drama, and they responded by bringing up more drama and baseless claims, all while trying to guilt trip me. It is ironic and crazy to me that I mentioned not wanting to be dragged into personal issues, only for them to on multiple occasions mention other people's alleged drama. So this is where things get real, because it's not Redacted doing the talking, it's Cinder directly. The DMs were from February 11th, 2025, so just a couple months ago, and it starts with Nano saying, Cinder, just wanted to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal. Wanted to apologize personally to you since I've only talked about that with Red, but I just don't want to be dragged on any personal issues like that. After all, Blank is still a client, and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to do this kind of deal. Just wanted to let you know I still love working with you and Red, but I'll understand if things doesn't work out because of Blank. I just love my clients, that's all. 3 hours later, Cinder replies with, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still today, and it's like I'm always living in someone's shadow, which is one reason why Redacted asked about not making...
Well, if you don't want to keep being compared to her, and if you want to get her out of your life, why don't you just, like, stop talking about her? Like, stop talking about her. The comparisons will still happen, but if you ignore it, like...
any more models for her. And when you said, I understand if things don't work out, it makes me feel like you're okay with not working with me anymore, which hurts so much after all this time. I really appreciate you, Nano, and it's your decision who you ultimately work with, but this is how I've been feeling. Nano continues in the DMs, replying with, I don't really see the point of keeping thinking about being compared to Blank. You're so much bigger already. You've done so much more. But I would never give Blank any priority over you. Also, there's not even any model for her being discussed. I just want to sleep clear-minded. Also, I'm fine not...
Exactly. Nano just wants to give everybody the same, like, treatment. And it... Exactly. She's so fucking ungrateful. Ungrateful is what she is. Like, and Nano even said, I don't, to stop thinking about it, you know? And she, like, Nano just wants to give everyone equal priority and equal work done for them, you know? And Cinder's over here like yapping like a spoiled fucking brat.
Doing her models, but at least GamerSup's art stuff would be fine with me. I don't want to be 100% an asshole to her, that's all. And Cinder replies with, it's not me, but other people's opinions of us. And I'm just trying to not get involved in any drama that other people want to talk about comparing us. But I understand where you're coming from, Nano. There's no hard feelings. And Nano says, sorry about this, my mental is just a bit weak. Cinder says, same girl. To which Nano says, I'm sorry for bringing this to you. Cinder then replies with, I want you to get that money. The whole situation is just kind of sucky. I want to just get along. And then Nano specifies that the phrase that she said, I understand if things didn't work out, meant that it would be mostly if you hate me for not burning Blank down from my list. To which Cinder reassures her, saying, I would never hate you. And Nano said, thank you, and same, I'm just an insecure bitch.
I would never hate you. Yeah, well, now Nano hates you. Well, probably not hate, you know? It's hard to hate people.
Cinder ends this conversation by saying, I love everything we've done together and I want to keep doing more. People saying dumb shit online just makes me stressed. Nano continues in the document, saying, justifying their behavior by stating they are simply looking out for me when none of this has anything to do with me to begin with, and manipulating me into being grateful for earning well thanks to them despite the loss of work from longtime returning clients and new clients. As you can see, this is already a handful, and we're barely halfway through this document. It gets worse. The next section in the document is called Concerning My Work and Models as a Team. Another example of going after other clients of mine from before, claiming that having more clients alongside them makes my work less special, with the recurrence of it's just business. Manipulating me into believing that working with her is special for multiple reasons and that I risk losing that special something as a client if I prefer to work with others. No acknowledgement of my reasoning and need of working with other clients due to the nature of my work, solely focused on their issues. I would also like to note again that this screenshot is one of many occasions that indicate that Red speaks on Cinder's behalf. I was originally concerned with everything going through Red that it may not have been 100% of Cinder's feelings or wants. I messaged her about it to make sure that he spoke on her behalf and confirmed with both of them this was the case. So this is it. Some people read only the first few pages of the document and concluded, wait, this isn't Cinder, this is just her manager. He's probably speaking on her behalf and she has no idea.
Yeah, but how do you have no idea? There's no way she had no idea. She has to at least know something, you know? You can't just not know what's going on your own account.
Yeah, well, this right here confirms, no, not only was she aware of what he was saying, but she fully agreed with everything her manager said. These DMs date back to November of 2023, and it's Nano starting off the conversation saying, hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red and I believe he talked to you already, and I thought it would be best if I just check here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me and I think I misunderstood things. To which Cinder says, I'm doing good, what's up Nano? Nano then says, oh, it's mostly about this. And it's a screen cap of what Red said in their DM saying, not to discredit any of your work because everything you work on is the top of the line incredible, but when everyone's a nano baby, it feels less special to be one, if that makes sense. Kind of been getting the same feeling from gamer subs lately too. To which Nano says, I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. To which Cinder replies with, I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business. Bro, what is this, the mafia? Pointing a gun at your head and before shooting you saying it's nothing personal, it's just business?
Might as well be the mafia. She acts enough like it is.
What the hell is this? She then continues, of course we love working with you and want to keep working together, but if you prefer to work with other clients instead of me, I know it's for a reason for you to help grow and not because you don't like me. Being one of your very first model babies was so amazing. I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with live 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part of why I loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. I can have Redacted send you a list of our plans for the future and estimated due dates, so just let us know what you actually want to work on. That way I have time to look for someone else if you don't have time for my projects or don't want to do them. It feels special to only have your model art for all my outfits, but just let me know if you don't have time for me to be an exclusive Nano art baby anymore. Nano then replies with, it's no personal reason. I would never do something like this to you or anyone, but yeah, it's important for my job to reach far and I like working on different projects and people. I never ever said I don't want to work with you anymore. I told Red that even though I have my other works, I will always have a way to get you a priority spot when possible. You'll always be my special baby. Cinder replies with, I also think it's important for you to work on projects that you're excited about, so I'll go through my plans with Red and send you our ideas to see if it's possible with your schedule. I know he can be a little pushy sometimes, but it's because he's just doing business for me to grow too, and he absolutely loves your work just as much as I do. Nano says it's okay, we'll update you guys ASAP, and Cinder says sounds good to me. Nano continues in the document saying, Red tries to make it look like they never meant for it to appear like they wanted me to be exclusive by framing it as something I wanted, while immediately doubling down on the fact that me working with more people makes my work less special and no longer unique, as if every design is just a Cinder clone. These are DMs also from November 2023 between Nano and Redacted, in which Nano says, so it's about working with Cinder. My friends told me it's a bit unfair for me to stop working other models, so I do more for Cinder, which I agree with them. I'm a free artist and I should do whatever I want to do. I don't want to take sides.
Exactly, free artist, do whatever the fuck you want to do, bitch.
On any drama or situations, I still will always have a way to have open slots for Cinder, but I won't be having her as my only customer. Redacted says, I agree, you're a free artist and you should do what you want, but I was under the impression that taking on more Cinder work is what you wanted to do. I didn't think it was like we were making you do that. Nano then says, guess we got a misunderstanding on both sides? It's more about this. And she replies with the initial message from Redacted in which she was like, yeah, not to discredit your work or anything, but whenever you work with other clients, it makes your work less special, right? To which Redacted says, oh, I see. I mean, what I said is still true about how we feel, but I wasn't saying you had to only do.
Yeah, and how does... I still don't get how it makes the work less special, you know? And also, like he's... Like, Nano is saying every model that she does is unique. Like, it's not like everyone is a fucking hellhound, you know?
Cinder work from now on. Bro, what the hell is this, man? He then continues, that's with anything though, not just your work. If you have something special and then everyone wants and gets that thing, it makes it less special. I'm sorry you were under the impression we were trying to make you only do work for us. I will keep things more business talk and less emotional, lol. Just let me know how this will affect your schedule so I can tell Cinder after. Sorry for the stress, Nano. To which she replies with, but every single model I do is unique and I make them special in their way. It's not like I'm selling Cinder to everyone. Please don't feel this way. Redacted then says, no, I know. You pour your heart and soul into your models and they're all incredible. And Nano ends this conversation with, I'm sorry I made you both feel this way too. So textbook manipulation, textbook gas.
Nano has no reason to fucking apologize, you know? Like, Red and Cinder have no right to talk to Nano like that, and Nano just doesn't have a reason to apologize. Like, there's no reason Nano should be the one apologizing in this situation.
Lighting, textbook backstabbing. I mean, is there anything here that doesn't scream manipulation to you? Reading through these DMs, I feel very sorry for Nano. She clearly loves to make art and is so conflicted here because she values Cinder as a friend and client, but at the same time, her gut feeling tells her something's wrong. These are very unreasonable demands. Anyway, the document continues. It's simply business. Normalizing their behavior once again by stating that it's simply business to sabotage other VTubers' careers and not work with them and focus on Cinder instead. This is again from November 2023, in which Redacted says, it's okay, Nano. You're just making a living and making a name for yourself, and I can't blame you for accepting work from other big names in the industry and having very desirable talent. If you end up filling your model schedule again like it was, let me know. We'll have to replan some things depending on that. Nano replies with, thank you for understanding my side. We're all trying to have our names somewhere. Just don't take this personal or anything. I still love working with you guys, and again apologize for the trouble on your plans. I'll still revisit my list and see what I got. He then says, business is business. If you want to go through the projects we talked about and let me know which ones you'd want to do too. Later on, Redacted replies to another message from Nano in which he says, I don't want to take any sides on any drama or situation, and he says, is this about blank model Nano? Nano says, yeah, I want to take it, but I don't want to disrespect Cinder. I just want to do pretty much.
Honestly, should have disrespected Cinder. Cinder deserves... Cinder doesn't really deserve how nice Nano was.
Models, no hurt feelings. Redacted then says, business is business, to which Nano replies with a crying emoji. Redacted replies with, Nano, you're a freelance artist and blank is a longtime client, so it makes sense to continue doing work for her. I understand the logistics of it. At the end of the day, you need to do what's best for you. Nano replies with, I really appreciate for understanding my side. I do understand your side too, but sadly it's something between you two, not me. I shouldn't get involved in this fight. I just go art, brr. Redacted then says, right, I know, I just didn't think our conversation sounded like I was trying to make you not work with her on a model, like blank specifically. Nano then says, maybe I just considered the situation too much. My mistake for thinking this way. And he says, it's okay. Then Nano says, but are we good for real? This feels like a weird breakup. I'm stressing. And Redacted says, me and you are good, but I still have to tell all this to Cinder. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I think she's still sleeping. So it's just a constant back and forth. It's very exhausting to talk to people like this because in 2023, they made her think that by taking on other clients, her art meant less. Then when she confronted them about it, they were like, we never meant that. We just want you to work on Cinder's models. Do what you gotta do. But then we saw very recent DMs from 2025 as well as 2024 in which they were telling her, do not work on models for these people in particular. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Nano continues the document saying, damage control.
Yeah, everything that they say is like contradictory. And it's like, it's contradicting itself. It doesn't make much sense.
Sure, none of this reaches the other VTubers and is all kept hush-hush, while also providing proof that they know what they do is ill-intended and should not get out, as it would cause issues for Cinder's career to be painted in this light. Note that the uncalled shot at VTuber 1 is even spoilered, a hidden message in Discord, so it wouldn't accidentally be leaked. This was from the same day in November 2023. A lot was revealed that day. Nano says, I try to be transparent as much as possible. I think it's more fair for both sides this way. And Redacted says, you didn't tell blank you canceled because of Cinder, did you? And Nano said, no, I told all of them it was health issues. I would never blame anyone besides blank. Redacted then says, lol, we never want to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to work on / not work on something, especially if it's something you want to / don't want to do. And our conversation the other day doesn't mean to convince you of only doing Cinder work. Again, sorry that it sounded to you like I was telling you to do only Cinder work.
Thank you, Lacey, but I don't intend on buying viewers. It just doesn't feel like ethical to me. Like, I don't know how I want to explain this. It doesn't feel like right to me to buy viewers when people work so hard to get viewers themselves, and kind of just feels like cheating. My mic is working, right? Oh. My mic Are you serious? My mic muted on me. So, like, nobody was getting any of that then? Also, what I was saying is to Lacey is that, buying viewers doesn't feel right to me, because it feels like I'm cheating on, like, I'm cheating and stuff, like, just, because some people, like, work hard for their viewers, and it doesn't feel right to me. Also, I don't know how long my mic was muted, because, you know, of course my mic muted on me. Did it just mute again? Please tell me it didn't. I don't know why my mic keeps muting itself. Who's this bum? I don't know, but my mic keeps muting itself. I don't know how long my mic was muted. Oh. Okay. Okay, we shall ban. We shall ban. Oops. I'll ban them later. I'm lazy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm lazy to figure all that. Hopefully my mic doesn't mute itself again. Is my mic muted? Hopefully not.
I'll message you later. So ever since 2023, Redacted and Cinder have been obsessed with just this one VTuber, always tracking what she's doing and not wanting her to hire Nanolist no matter what. Here you can see Redacted saying, well, let's see if blank wants a nano model or not, and hope blank finds someone else. Nano continues in the document saying the constant obsession with VTuber 1 and claiming that she's asking for it by causing this unspoken competition, which is coming from absolutely no other source than Cinder herself. So Cinder was convinced this VTuber was competing with her directly and wanted to steal her thunder. It's censored in this document, but we'll later find out who this is because she also made her own document. Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while. Nano's document ends with around 3 or 4 screenshots showing this absolute obsession with this VTuber and the unhinged thought process that Redacted and Cinder had towards them. This is Redacted saying, I think it's more like wanting her to recognize Cinder even though it literally doesn't matter.
Good, hopefully it doesn't do that again. That was kind of unfortunate that it muted.
Feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because blank can't get along. But I also understand her point of view. The new VTuber who people say looks, sounds, and acts like you becomes just as successful as you in a year. If she did recognize Cinder as an equal or a friend, then I would be like she's endorsing her copy, or like I've seen some people say her replacement. They share a lot of the same audience too. Like at the end of the day, it isn't just about how much we make compared to her, we just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder is a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did, get along. And the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. I just know anything we do, she's watching and will take from or try to outdo. Oh my god, you know the spinning figure we have on stream? Blank's figure was announced on Wednesday, no spinning figure. Cinder debut Saturday, everyone hears about it. Figure announced, spinning figure on screen with exclamation mark figure right next to it. Blank streams yesterday, first stream since Cinder debut, guess what?
Yeah, but like... Oh, you did? Okay. Good, it might have just been on my part. what was I saying? Anyway, it's not like Cinder owns spinning figures, you know? Like, plenty of people have probably done the same thing.
Spinning figure with exclamation mark figure next to it. Now, this might seem confusing, but we were just talking about VTuber 1. But there was another VTuber that both Cinder and Redacted were obsessed with, a Cerberus pup VTuber. Here we have Redacted talking about her mid-conversation, accusing her of copying Cinder every chance she got, saying, then like a month later unfollowed her on Twitter and started taking her ideas, Cinder's ideas, like the flames, and now she's basically rebranded to more of a fire Cerberus, using fire emojis all the time, shaking my head. Never did that before. It's funny because she used to call herself a hellhound, but stopped when Cinder grew past her and now uses Cerberus, or Cerber pup, or whatever her lore says she is, I don't know. Nano says, the unfollow is weird, and then Redacted says, yeah. So it's like, there was also unprovoked tweets from her like, I didn't copy anyone else for my design is all me, this is who I am. Like, huh? Who are you saying that to? Then he continues and says, oh, lol, on random Cinder clips on YouTube, there was one dedicated blank fan or someone she knew, I don't know, that would comment on these clips saying like, when are you going to clip blank? Only on Cinder clips. Nano ends this document by saying, I'd like to highlight the irony of expecting to be entitled to recognition for her own efforts and size when her own active efforts are tied to sabotaging this very same VTuber. Also feeling entitled and insisting to be recognized by someone else is odd. Thanks for taking the time to read through everything. I hope everything makes sense and everyone who has been hurt, manipulated, or sabotaged by her will find closure. So look, this whole idea of, oh my god, this VTuber's copying me or whatever, this isn't the first time we see it in the VTuber space. It happens more often than anyone would like to. But Cinder, as well as Redacted, were taking it to a whole other level. They weren't just concerned by someone
Exactly. People copy stuff literally all the time. It's how trends start. It's how trends start. Like, look at TikToks. Trends didn't just pop out of thin air. Somebody made a first video, somebody saw it, and thought, oh, that's cool, I'm gonna copy that. Well, probably didn't think of copying, but I'm gonna do that. And then it becomes a trend. That's how fucking trends start.
Copying them, they were obsessed, and they were dragging their artist who has been loyal to them into this mess as well. It was a very, very bad look. Some people were analyzing some of the DMs between Cinder and Nano, and this part right here, where she says, being one of your very first model babies was so amazing, I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with like 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part why everyone loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. Made people think like, wait, what are you saying here? Are you saying your skill is thanks to me because I found someone that can help your life 2D cutting? And the reason everyone even started to look for you is because they loved my model first? It seemed like Cinder believed Nanolith owed her for the success.
Exactly. Like how are you gonna tell Nano that his entire success was just because but like, you know, I get it, you were one of the first ones, but like there were others and you're not the only reason that he was found, you know? You're a big reason, but you're not the only reason. His art is good her art is good is the biggest reason.
She would be a nobody if it wasn't for Cinder. What a very weird attitude to have. Additionally, here's a screenshot of all the models that Nanolith worked on. Oh my god, I have to censor that. Dude, her boobs are literally out of the outfit. What? Anyway, as you can see, they don't look the same at all. They're all very special and all have their unique traits. This idea that the more models she worked on would devalue her work as an artist was a ridiculous claim to make. And
I forgot about that break thing. It scared me. I gotta change those settings at some point.
Everyone can see that now. But speaking of everyone, what about her close friends that she backstabbed so shamelessly? What was their reaction? Well, Cottontail was one of the people mentioned in that document that both Cinder and her manager were trying to keep away.
See, and look at all these big VTubers that did her too. That that used this artist. Hang on, it's you got Mousy, you got Buff, I mean, you got so many other VTubers, and they all look completely different. So what is she on about them all being copies of her? What the fuck?
But speaking of everyone, what about her close friends that she backstabbed so shamelessly? What was their reaction? Well, Cottontail was one of the people mentioned in that document that both Cinder and her manager were trying to keep away from Nano, even though they were friends. In which Redacted says, "You don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Blank at all again." She tweeted this, saying, "This made my stomach drop to read. It makes me very sad to have things come out like this, sending Nano and Bao so much love." I mean, I can't even imagine thinking that someone is my friend and they're out there in DMs getting their manager to gatekeep an artist from me.
Exactly. Like, imagine being in their shoes, finding out that one of your closer friends was like telling their artist not to work for you.
Because they think I'm a threat to them. But of course, Cottontail was far from being the only one affected here. 5 minutes after Nano released her document, Bao quote tweeted and said, "I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend," with her own Google document. Now look, many friends of Cinder were involved in this, but Bao was more involved than most because this didn't just concern Nano, it also concerned editors as well as animators. So here's what Bao had to say in her document, saying, "Hello, this is Bao. I will only speak to what Nanolist has decided to share with the public and the messages that directly mention me by name. I would like to kindly ask everyone to refrain from turning this into a witch hunt and remember that we are still humans at the end of the day. Before I start, I want to point out why..."
Yeah, that's a good point, is that they're all human. Humans make mistakes. I mean, not defending what Cinder did, but like, it's a good point that we're all people at the end of the day.
I'm addressing both Cinder and Redacted, despite the messages being largely from Redacted. Many times throughout the messages, the words "we," "we're," "our" occur numerous times. As someone who was close to and worked with Cinder for years, I have first-hand experience in how Cinder and Red collaborate and the extent to which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects. It is that experience that leads me to believe that all requests and messages sent by Red were both known about and approved of by Cinder. In March 2024, I announced that one of my subathon goals was a Live 2D model. This right here is the tweet of her announcement. If she reaches 10,000 subs, she's gonna commission a new sexy mommy Live 2D model. That's what she's referring to. She then continues, Nanolist was going to be the Live 2D illustrator. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad, as I had not only teased the screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Cinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was, and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat
Of course she didn't fucking say anything. She's a fucking narcissist. She doesn't care about anyone's feelings but her own, really. It's what I feel like. Like, I feel like maybe out there is someone that she cares about. But, like, I mean, obviously, Red, she's dating him, but, I feel like she just doesn't really care for people's feelings, you know?
And reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolist. She then shows us the same screenshots that were in Nano's document, in which we now know that Bao, Cotton, as well as other VTubers were directly targeted by both Redacted and Cinder. Bao then continues in her document and says, Nanolist asks Redacted on why he is encouraging her to not finish my model. Redacted then lists my name amongst various VTubers as well as the vendettas Cinder and Redacted harbor against each. She then lists all these reasons that they were targeting Bao. The first one being, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. The second, she hijacked our YouTube editor. The third, constantly picking up artists that we work with. The fourth, now she's barking up the tree of one of our Live 2D animators. And the fifth, has a way of guilt-tripping others to get her way. This is what Redacted lists as reasons why Nanolist should cancel her ongoing Live 2D commission with me, all the while continuing to collaborate with me and pretending to be my friend. This is not what friends do. Friends do not sabotage other friends out of business opportunities. Friends do not spread lies to fuel selfish narratives. Friends do not use the private information they get from the privilege of being close friends just to use it to manipulate others. If stepping on your friends and abusing your power and connections is how you get to the top, then I hope you realize no one will be left when you get there. She then links another.
Yeah, I hope, well, people who act like that all end up falling, you know? Because eventually it all comes out.
Another screenshot we saw in Nano's document of Redacted asking, did you cancel the models? And then says, more screenshots of them urging Nanolist to cancel the ongoing Life to Decommission with me, even mentioning how excited I was about it when I showed them the design during Cinder and I's concert at WeebCon in 2024. That is so scummy. Again, this is a screenshot that we saw in Nano's document. So then Bao mentions something that happened in this conversation between Nano and Redacted, in which Redacted was urging her to cancel the model with Bao, and Nano saying, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift. Redacted then said, I wouldn't offer it for free, maybe half price if she starts shit, lol, and Bao quotes that sentence of Redacted and says, I don't know what I have ever done to either Redacted or Cinder to deserve this level of vitriol towards me. I don't remember having any issue or any problem that couldn't have been solved by talking. So yeah, this is really, really screwed up, obviously. I mean, anyone can tell, right? It's like Bao murdered one of their family members and got away with it. Like, what did she do, man? Anyone who's ever worked with her has said nothing but good things about her. Out of all her friends, she decided to target the person who is probably the nicest out of all of them. Anyway, Bao can...
Exactly. Like, what has Bao really ever done?
Continues, saying, regarding the messages where Cinder and Redacted openly accuse me of stealing their YouTube editor, Boss Rush music video animator, as well as any artist they have worked with, she attaches an image that shows an email between her and Kaiser, their YouTube editor, in which she says, Hi Kaiser, nice to meet you. I was just watching your stream highlight from me and Cinder's collab, and I really loved your editing style and humor. I was curious if I could request a video edit from you every now and then if you have any availability. My username is Bao on Discord if you want to chit-chat more there. Thanks again. And Kaiser says, Hi Bao, I'd love to edit a video for you. I just sent a friend request on Discord. Bao continues in the document saying she hijacked our YouTube editor. Their YouTube editor, Kaiser, is a mutual YouTube channel editor for myself and Cinder. My channel manager, June, and I asked Kaiser for one stream highlight per month as we are aware of his extensive position as Cinder's channel manager. I made a point to note this in my inquiry email to him in 2023. She then shows a screenshot of a call that lasted 5 hours and says, on March 20th, I started a group Discord call that...
Can you go in the back? Twerking covering Bao stream. Wait, what? Wait, I missed the twerking cup. Oh. Oh my god. I didn't even realize that was there until, like, you mentioned it.
Kaiser is in...
Though it's not surprising that she has that. Knowing who Bao is, you know, not surprising.
Mutual YouTube channel editor for myself and Cinder. My channel manager, June, and I asked Kaiser for one stream highlight per month as we are aware of his extensive position as Cinder's channel manager. I made a point to note this in my inquiry email to him in 2023. She then shows a screenshot of a call that lasted...
And Cinder doesn't own her editor.
5 hours and says, on March 20th, I started a group Discord call that lasted 5 hours to hang out with my editors. In this group call, Kaiser shared with us that he was afraid to ask Cinder for a raise because he initially turned down an exclusivity deal. As a friend to both Cinder and Kaiser, I encouraged him to take the deal and reassured him that it would not change our friendship as I would never want someone I care about to miss an opportunity, even if it meant I would lose him as an editor. The other editors who were in the call can corroborate this. I'm sharing this context because there are no words to describe the hurt and betrayal I feel now, knowing that on the other side of this conversation, Cinder and Redacted were actively portraying me as a thief and a detriment to their business. I have only ever supported them in their activities and never once thought that I had somehow gotten on their nerves. She then quotes what Redacted said in the DMs with Nano, a sentence that said, Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor and the songs flopped. Bao then says, I'm in shock and disbelief that this is the narrative they decided I deserved, saying that I harbored an invisible jealousy because my songs flopped made me feel sick to my stomach. In late 2024, I was dealing with debilitating TMJ pain that resulted in me having to drain fluid from my jaw joint to open my mouth properly. They both knew this. I have always wanted...
Yeah, and like hating and being mean to somebody who you knew was actively sick is like... It's fucked up, you know? You don't do that. It's not something people should do, ever.
My friends to succeed alongside me, and I don't know how they could say these things while simultaneously weaponizing my most vulnerable moments against me. I mean, at this point, no comment, right? Like, no comment. This is disgusting. For years, they were trying to backstab her as hard as they could. She had no idea. She thought they were friends. So this was her clearing up the whole idea that she stole their editor. She did nothing of the sort. But then there was the topic of her animator. So here she quotes the sentence that Redacted had told Nanolus, which is, "We're 99% sure she told him," Sacramore, her animator, "not to do any more with us," referring to the Boss Rush music videos. And these screenshots were in Nano's initial document. Bao says, "In these messages, Cinder and Redacted are referring to my animator, Sacramore, whom I have been working with since 2023. She proves this by showing DMs between them in 2023. Bao saying, 'Hi, I'm going to bed, but give me your rates and turnaround time for a video like the Bao Experience one. Me and my editors loved it.' And Sac said, 'Yo, all good.'" Then she continues, "In 2024, Sac asked me if he could go completely exclusive for me and work for me in-house with no credit in order for him to be able to quietly work on his personal projects and brand without having VTubers ask him for more commission work. I was happy to accept. I want to reiterate that this was Sac's decision and no one else's." Then she says, "Here is proof of Sac mentioning his wishes to be my in-house animator directly to my channel manager June back in December 2024, refuting Redacted's claims that I locked him up due to Boss Rush's success." These DMs between Sac and June, her channel editor, have Sac asking, "Yo, is it fine if going forward?"
And that's fucking bullshit. She didn't lock no one up.
"I don't be credited in video descriptions?" To which June says, "Okay." Sac then says, "Thank you. I'd rather just be more an in-house type of thing for Bao after this blank thing is done. It's the last commission I ever do for anyone besides Bao, and want to make a name for myself through my own content and not really my work for others next year." So again, Bao showed up with the proof and she's showing us how delusional Redacted and Cinder were. Bao then ends this by asking, "Why aren't you solving this privately?" And then replies, "If you look at the timeline of events from Nano's document, some of those messages date back years. I found out about this less than 48 hours ago, and they did not give me common courtesy of talking."
Yeah, and that's another thing is it didn't just randomly start either. Like, she's been like this for years. It's just been slowly building up, which is what happens with people like her.
Me privately about this over those years. My thoughts, feelings, my most vulnerable, darkest moments that I shared in confidence with people I thought would be by my side years and years from now may have been used as information to ruin my chances to have the same VTuber model as someone I thought was my friend, and I don't know how it can ever be the same after this. I would like to ask the community to refrain from spreading any harmful speculation. Everything shared in this document was done so with the express permission of those who shared it with me. I made this document with the intent to refute the claims made about me in the screenshots. Thank you for taking the time to read this." Yeah, what a roller coaster, right? And I just feel very bad for everyone involved in this, of course, except Cinder and Redacted, because this is a horror story. Imagine opening up to someone, thinking they're your friend, always thinking about what's best for them and not coming in their way. And then it turns out that not just recently, for years, ever since you knew them, they've only had negative things to say about you privately. That is wild, and that of course will traumatize a person. It's crazy. The VTuber Sane compiled all the different collabs and things that both Bao and Cinder worked on to really show how much of a terrible person she was talking like this behind her back. The song used in the video is a song from Cinder, I'm pretty sure, so I'm gonna mute that just in case she wants to copyright me. Here you go, look at this. They collabed so many different times and met up IRL so many times too. Like, look at this tweet from Bao. "Love you, Cinder. The fact that this is your first shot at anything musically is incredible, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. That's my girl." Like, this is insane. The people who were mentioned in Bao's document made sure to confirm publicly that what she was saying.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane because, like, Bao was being nothing but supportive, and here Cinder is talking shit behind her back.
Was true. Her channel manager June quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Hello, I'm Bao's channel manager, and yes, I was there in the call with Kaiser, Bao, and Sac, and Bao encouraged Kaiser to take the raise. It was definitely something she thought would be best for him. Bao supported any opportunity or anything that Kaiser would choose to go." Sac, who is her animator, also quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Feel free to read if you want. Go show love and support to both Nano and Bao though," and linked a Google document that recounted his experiences in this entire situation. So Sac starts this document off with, "This is going to be very unorganized, but I'll try and keep this brief since I don't really think that they, Red specifically, deserve any more of my attention after hearing what they have said about me and also how working with them was." So he specifies again that he wanted to go anonymous and in-house, not because Bao forced him to, but because he wanted to. He wanted to focus on his own channel while not worrying about having to be commissioned by other people. Then he addresses what Redacted told Nanolus about him, where he says her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. Sack says, when me and Cinder initially discussed working on a music video project at TwitchCon, everything was fine and friendly. However, the part that is stated as practically jumped through hoops is, well, a bit of an overstatement to say the least, since they had asked me a significant amount of times trying to get me to work with them after I told them no multiple times, and I only said yes because they offered double pay. So in this DM, you can see in September, Redacted reaching out to Sack asking, you wouldn't happen to be available for a music video in a week or two, would you? And Sack saying, no, I'm completely full every day this month and earliest I could do is November 9th. Sack really tried to make it work but couldn't find any slots in his schedule. Redacted would continue asking questions. How long does it take you to make a music video? What do you need? And even with Sack saying multiple times, I really can't, I'd love to, but I just can't. He says things like, okay, thanks though, Sack. You're missing out on a good one. Like, bro, he stated he wants to, but
fucking good one.
Just can't. Redacted then keeps messaging Sack, talking to him about project specifics, asking him how long things would take him, and seeing when he's free. And then on the 12th of November 2024, Redacted messages Sack saying, are you available? Sorry for getting back to you so late. Sack says, all good. I'm still 100% down to do it. I would be able to start like the first or second week of December for like mid-December release. Is that okay? And Redacted says, we were hoping end of November release, to which Sack says, oh yeah, that would be impossible for me. Sack then specifies, like I said, I'm still super down to do it and really hope to be able to work with Cinder on the video, but my schedule is always super packed / fully planned weeks and months ahead without much wiggle room, so just let me know what y'all would like to do or feeling. And then Redacted says, what if we pay you double? Sack then says blank and I'll cook, to which Redacted says you can send the invoice to blank whenever, we'll get it paid ASAP. Sack then continues in the document saying, also, I'm not sure what they're on about with Bao not knowing about me working with them, since I asked Bao with Cinder and Red standing right next to me at TwitchCon if it was fine, since I had agreed to do all the Halloween album but would probably miss one of the songs, and she had no problems with it at all.
Yeah, they 100% knew about like everything and like literally everything that was happening.
So even though this would sacrifice the music video for one of Bao's songs in her album, she still said, yes, please go ahead. I mean, Cinder is her friend, as far as she knew, right? Then Sack goes on to detail his work experience with Cinder and Redacted, saying, also, the stream was pushed back for the reason of the video wasn't done yet. Song was going up at 2 p.m. if I remember. However, this part really got under my skin due to the fact that it was just straight up not true, and if something goes wrong in the video production line, no matter who's at fault, the blame will always fall to the editor / animator pretty much every time. I'm still not sure why stream was pushed back. So it felt as if I was
Yeah, and it's not their fault either. It really isn't their fault.
getting passive-aggressively blamed publicly on stream in front of thousands for the lateness really upset me, since the video was not late even under a very tight deadline where I did not even receive all the artwork until the 18th, the first full master until the 19th, and was then asked to also make a teaser version as well as an ad for the end of the video for their merch on the 21st, which I was not informed of at all prior to planning. I also had skipped going home for Thanksgiving after having a family member pass to get this video.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have skipped Thanksgiving. I would have said, bitch, I'm going home for Thanksgiving and you can't do nothing about it.
Done and rushed the hell out of it. Entire video was done from scratch in a little under 2 weeks, since there were quite a few both visual and audio assets I did not have at the time that even remotely resembled what the final product will sound like. So I felt like this was an attack on my work ethic, which is something I take quite a lot of pride in. I did not receive the merch assets until the 27th as well either. Even with revisions and all the extra trailers, the video was completed and delivered on time with enough time for YouTube to process the 4K version. There's probably more that I should clarify, since I'm aware this is unbelievably poorly organized, but I'm very tired and don't feel like giving any more energy to these people. If there's anybody who has questions for me, just send me a DM. So this clears up more things that were happening behind the scenes between Sack and Cinder as well as Redacted, shows us that Bao was nothing more than an amazing friend, and also, even though Cinder and Redacted fought so hard to get Sack over, paying him double his rate, they were terrible clients who weren't prepared, didn't know what they wanted, and still managed to make Sack look bad in front of their audience, even though he missed Thanksgiving just to get the video done on time. It's overall a terrible situation. With all these documents releasing, pressure was mounting very hard on Cinder, with people demanding answers. So many looked up to her and loved her content purely because of how warm and gentle and kind of a person she portrayed herself on streams. But now people were realizing this was nothing more than an illusion. hours later, Cinder finally tweeted something saying effective immediately. Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry everyone, I will make a larger response when I'm able. So I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised when I tell you that this response left a lot to be desired. But then another VTuber pointed out something very interesting. Vampeaches replied to that tweet and said, I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you first debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip, as if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to...
Yeah, like calling your boyfriend your manager is one thing, but like pretending that he isn't your boyfriend.
This tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the red side of this duo. So as everyone could have guessed, Redacted is her significant other. He's her boyfriend and he lives with her. She was fully aware of what he was doing and approved of it, and yet right now she was throwing him under the bus to try and save her career when everyone knows this is nothing more than a desperate attempt to save your skin without facing any responsibility. It was a very lackluster response to an apocalyptic expose on who she is behind the scenes. And speaking of who she was behind the scenes, someone else came out with a document by the name of Rain on a topic that no one could have ever expected, saying, fuck it. My experience with Tashi/Cinder, content warning, cheating? Dude, this just keeps getting worse. Let's look at this document. So this goes back way
Cheating too?
before Cinder was even a thing. This is about Tashi, her previous persona. Things were getting so spicy, my tongue isn't working anymore. The document starts off with, hello, thank you for taking the time to read this document. The events described in it happened about 4 to 5 years ago before the first Cinder debut. I understand there will be accusations of me clout chasing by revealing them. However, I wanted to corroborate Nanolys's assertion that she is not who she appears to be on the surface, and confirm.
Yeah, saying that someone is clout chasing just because they share their experience is fucking shitty.
No matter how much damage control she does, she's just as responsible as Redacted. The first section is titled The Beginning. Cinder and I met while she was still running her Tashi.mp3 YouTube channel, which is why all the following screenshots will show her as Tashi rather than Cinder, and that will come up later. At the time, she was only starting her account and I already had my own ASMR RP channel with 8k subscribers, and as a bigger channel than her, she couldn't wait to work with someone as talented as me. This message dates back to May 2020 with Tashi saying, you'll get there. It's still hard for me to believe that someone so talented likes my voice enough to want to work together. Rain continues and says, we never ended up actually making any content together, but that didn't stop us from talking pretty much every day at the time, and eventually she found a new way to make me useful. The next section is titled, oh dear. Pretty much immediately she was flirting with me despite, as you can see here, having a boyfriend and both of us knowing she had a boyfriend, including regularly talking shit about him to me while telling me how great it would be if I were to replace him. What the hell? He continues, I understand that I'm no angel in this myself, but hey, at least I can be honest about it. Oh my god. Anyway, here are the DMs. It starts off with Rain saying, besides, you said it's hard when your boyfriend is far, far away. I'm not your boyfriend, am I? To which Tashi says, no, but how nice that would be. Your perfect boyfriend material, heart. Okay. Rain then continues.
Weird. That's fucking weird.
Oh ho, so you want to go at it behind his back? How sneaky. And then she says, hi honey, I've been talking to this guy about how badly I want him to fuck me since he wanted to buy a flashlight instead of giving me any attention.
What the hell? What the hell?
When I'm needy. What? Right? That says, fucking oof, dude. Literally, why would you even need a flashlight when you have a girlfriend? And then Tashi/Cinder replies with, he sent me a screenshot a couple weeks ago telling me he was getting one and had the nerve to use it in front of me to show me how great it was. Wow, yeah, must be great. Rain then says, yo, what the fuck? That's like me inviting you to a chatterbait room so you can watch me fuck someone else in all the ways I said I want to fuck you. To which he replies with, isn't that great? Rain then says, I'm very slowly not feeling as bad for him about all this, because it did honestly leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth that all this was happening while you were taken, but then, yeah, that's a bit, Did you tell him that was fucked up and hurtful to you? She then replies with, he asked me if I was okay with it, and after I explained how I felt, he told me it was too late to do anything about it because it shipped, and he kept it. Rain then says, I mean, far be it from me to give you advice, it's your relationship, and the only ones who can decide what is and isn't okay is you two, but that just sounds really sketchy to me. And why did he ask if you were okay with it after he bought it? Well, all I'm gonna say on this is, two wrongs don't make a right. As much as I enjoy the second thing, it's really not right if you still want to be with him. I would either try to reconcile with him and get what you need out of the relationship and step back from me a bit, or maybe consider taking a break. And I know that last part sounds fucked coming from me, but I swear on my life, I'm not being scummy about it. That's really my opinion. She then replies, I've just been really stressed about everything, and talking to you makes me feel so much better. I don't want to lose what we have, but I'm such an awful person, I don't deserve it anyway. Rain then says, I don't believe you're an awful person. I believe that you're stressed, you're emotional, and you're looking for something to make it better, which happened to be me when he wasn't helping. Listen, take a break from what we have just for a little bit and see if you can get something out of him first. You can't really have both of us, plus it wouldn't be very fulfilling for me to just be the other guy in this scenario and not get the full relationship experience myself. You can do it, sweetie. I believe you can, truly. She then says, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'd do without you. To which he says, I'm not saying to stop talking to me completely. I'll still be right here to support you, whichever decision you end up making. And then she says, I love you so much. I don't know how to thank you. Bro, this is so weird. This is so weird, man. Look, I'm convinced this is some weird, like, roleplay fantasy she has. She knew that Rain felt really weird about this.
It honestly probably is a roleplay fantasy. Not gonna lie.
Knowing that she had a boyfriend, so she was making up this story to make him feel less guilty about cheating. That's just my theory, right? But I just find her story so unbelievable that it just can't be true. Rain then continues in the document saying, despite what was evidently nothing serious for her and just a means of keeping herself occupied, she felt the need to keep stringing me along with proclamations of real love, which again, I was silly to have believed in the first place, but still. And it's a screenshot of her saying, regardless, I'm always going to love you. He then continues in the document, for obvious reasons, I won't share any of the explicit sexting, not just because of the NSFW nature of it, but also I just don't think it helps. However, note that all this went on for several months and included more than just text, as both the date and the contents of the following screenshots prove. This was in September of 2020, so months since the last DMs we saw, and it features Rain saying, I mean, it looked like something was going down there either way. And then Tashi replies with, it's called fingering, dear. Oh my god. The document then continues, one reason I felt it important to share these details in particular is because I never found out if Red got told about what happened, especially not in full lucidity. The primary reason I've held on to all this for so long was an itching feeling that Redacted never fully knew and that always felt like it would be unnecessary drama, so I left it alone. But now seems as good a time as any. Redacted, if you're reading this, I'm sorry for all that happened back then, I really am, but given the actions you two have taken together regarding other VTubers, I still think you're perfect for each other regardless. The last section of the
That's crazy. You're still perfect for each other regardless.
document is the end. After Cinder got done using me for fleeting sexual gratification, our conversation slowed down, exacerbated by the Cinder character coming into fruition and finding immediate success. I had stopped making content for a decent length of time by then, and thus, she no longer felt she could ladder climb from me. Here we can see this was a conversation mid-2021, with Tashi saying, hey, what was your exam for? I haven't been on this Discord account super often, so I missed a bit, and Rain said she made a new group chat without me. I kid, but yeah, they were the entrance exams for the uni college. Tashi said, nice, congrats on passing them. I've just been on the VTuber side of things working with commissions and whatnot. And then Rain said, what? And Cinder doesn't want to be my friend? Only Tashi does? To which she replied with, it's just easier not having multiple ongoing conversations. Rain continues in the document saying, until eventually she stopped using that account altogether and committed fully to Cinder, and I never heard from her again, something I was uncannily aware would happen even back then. These are DMs from around the same time in 2021, with Rain saying, I'll message you at this time in 2022 and you won't even remember who I am, to which Tashi said, I'd never forget you. Rain then continues the document and says, and that's pretty much it. This isn't meant to be a witch hunt. We all make mistakes, including me, as I've shown in this same document, but it felt like a good time to get off my chest things that I've been on it for half a decade now and to finally get some closure, even though I know how bad I look alongside her. She's an opportunist whenever she can find a way to be, and she does not care what happens to the people she springboards off from. I can only hope she takes this as an opportunity to change and grow as a person, and I'm just gonna throw this one.
That's what I'm saying, is she just doesn't care about how people feel or what happens after she fucks them over, you know?
in the end because it's kind of funny for me to see in retrospect. Okay, thanks for reading. And it's a message from Tashi in 2020 saying, don't forget about me when you become a big popular YouTuber. You know what? I didn't read this document until I started recording, and yeah, this caught me by surprise. Wow. You know, I wish Rain had shown this a long time ago so people would have known, okay, this person's kind of weird. And maybe Bao and Nana wouldn't have been backstabbed so god.
Okay, I will probably finish this tomorrow because I'm exhausted. You know? I get exhausted after that. It's been almost 2 hours. And I think that my mic had muted again, but I'm not sure. And I will be disappointed if it did. But I'm gonna end the stream here and just, you know, bye.